relatively short one. Hi, how is it going? Good. Okay, Friday rolls along, doesn't it? And what do we get at the end of the Friday roll along? Or even at the beginning? Music. Here it comes. Tortoise. Anyone know Tortoise? Tortoise are a band that you ought to know about. Tortoise were very famously never existed. No, they never famously existed at all. They existed back in the olden days of the 90s, when I believe Slint stopped being a thing. Tortoise rose from the ashes, as tortoises are known to do. And we got the album, which I always mess up with, It Takes a Nation of Millions. It's not actually on Cobus, which is a shocker. Let's see if it's on Spotify, actually. I'll have a look over here. Millions Now Living Will Never Die, though, is what it's called. It takes a nation of millions now living to never die. It is on Spotify. What's up with that, Cobus? Why have you not got seminal Tortoise albums? Anyway, it is post-rock. It's in that particular genre, but I think post-rock is one of those genres that is ill-defined, more as a conceptual tool to indicate that the global dominance of rock music is not quite as globally dominating as it used to be, rather than that rock music is actually changed into something else, and that's the music that we're listening to. Post-rock is very, very different from band to band. There's similarities, and one of the similarities seems to be that you have long, relatively slow moving guitar-led music. That seems to be something that has post-rock all over it. That said, we look at Sigur Rós and we don't have that, do we? Sigur Rós, I've never heard anyone say that, probably not, is a band who broadly don't use guitars, at least in a very clear way. Now I've said that, I imagine there are some songs that I have forgotten that clearly use guitars in them, but not the that one. There we go, that's what it is. Yeah, not that one, Hoppy Pokla, not that one, and a large proportion of their music that I've listened to is pretty much synth based, as far as I can tell, with drums, and with Jonsi being a cool dude over the top. And they qualify as post-rock for a lot of people. They have a much more poppy sound than a lot of the others. Godspeed You Black Emperor is probably the classic post-rock band. They just have quite a lot of aspects of progressive rock in their sound that people just don't want to call progressive rock at the time. Progressive rock was still very much a rude term for musicians in the 90s. At least that's how it seemed to me, being a baby in the 90s. I don't know. Tortoise overall don't get as much love as Slint does, or as Mogwai, or as Godspeed You Black Emperor, who have really come into their own lately. They've been getting a lot of rave reviews again after a sort of mid-period where no one was really interested. They're really back in the underground consciousness, which is cool. Let's see if Tortoise deserve the same. Do Tortoise have stuff to say in these times? Vexations is our first track. Let's just get the image. There we go. It's the second Scorpion album I've looked at this year. Scorpion on Face album. Never mind. Oh, actually, that's not true. The Cowards cover by Squid and Tortoise as well. Is there not some shenanigans going on here? That one is not a face that it's next to. It's actually a finger, isn't it? So, yeah, go and have a look. Sort of feels like a D minor chord here. Thanks, Sniper Machine, but I don't really believe that you do love my streams and they're always a blast to watch, because I've never seen you here before. But thanks for the positive words, even if they are completely lies. And you're a bot anyway, so I don't know why I'm talking to you. Yeah, so it's like a D minor kind of feel is what we're getting through here, but it's very soft but a little grainy. Yeah, quite a lo-fi sound coming through here. Just on what, a synth is it? That particular note sounds like it's a piano that has been warped quite a lot. Yeah, with a kind of, you know, band pass on it, making it much smaller, slightly higher pitched sound. And it's just got those repeated notes, probably a bit of delay on it, whereas the other notes, these ones sound like they're more string based, more drawn out kind of sound. There's actually another note in there as well. This B flat, giving us a little bit of tension in this beginning that's not just generated by the oh, there's a good word, but it's on the tip of my tongue, and it is in I can't remember it. That's a real shame. Something like transient sounds is what I'm looking for. But the point is this chord is not constant. It's not like this. These notes are just a little unreliably there. They're not always there. So we've got that causing a little bit of unusual tension, and we've also got this dissonance in the middle of the chord too, between the B flat and the A. And now we have a much more abrasive texture coming in there on that high note. But isn't it interesting how sometimes it sounds like that one and sometimes it sounds like that one? It's just because this rubbing abrasive sound can't decide it's on one or the other. I will remember this word by the end of the stream. I wanted to say it again, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, slightly changing that sound. The D up here is really constant, just constantly going through the track, whereas this lower one, and there's a little bit of this kind of thing coming in as well. Those are a little less constant. Yeah, it's almost getting a rhythm. This kind of rhythm going on. It's maybe gonna form into something. We'll see. Well, it didn't, but we did get an anacrusis of the drums, and then we're into a really straightforward drum groove. Kick, snare, and hi-hat, 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 hi-hat. Yeah, it almost feels like now that sound in the middle, that's conforming to the beat in an interesting way. Yeah, we don't quite have that abrasive sound now, so it's a little softer in that respect, but the drums are really hitting hard, and they are slightly distorted because they're hitting this compressor cap quite hard and going poof. There's some, I don't want to say inconsistencies, that's kind of what I mean though, but the drum groove is not constantly exactly the same. Sometimes it is, it's adding in like a things like that. Okay, guitars, finally. Sounds like maybe there's a bass down there as well. It's quite low, both of them. Chugging. That's below my keyboard there. Really classic particular thing to go there. G, F, E flat. It's like 3, 2, 1. Or it's like 1, flat 7, flat 6. Depending on where we are. Before this though, we were sort of based around this, well, it sounds like the Matrix there, doesn't it? Yeah. It's a really good chord. You could call it a D minor with a added flat 13th, or you could call it a B flat major 7. But it doesn't really feel like the B flat major 7 when we've got that dissonance fighting against the B flat like that. Either way, that was our first chord there, and then this, let's recontextualize that somewhat. So now it sounds more like a G based chord because we've got G in the bass. That makes so much sense. And then the rest is like a minor 9. Quite a powerful thing, but I can't really hear all of that going on. The guitars are much stronger and they're just leading us towards that new tonality. Okay, came back up to the F, back down. Yeah, there is a bass actually, and it's doing something like this. Can we make that a softer, bassier kind of sound? Sure. Doing fifths like that. Okay, whereas the guitar is pretty much just doing the one note. The guitar's a little tuned down, isn't it? Because we've got a low D there. Yeah, the riff overall was a little more complicated than just walking down like that. And that is nice. I like to hear a little bit of extra complication on the lines. Okay, so now we've got, as well as that, walking down like that, we've got another line over the top. Pretty straightforward, but they walk together and then they walk apart, but they get to the same note. Simple enough. That's also echoed up an octave in another instrument. So, kind of like that. Gonna have to go off the bass because the bass only goes so high. Slightly more complicated melody there, let's hear it again. Yeah, so I missed it the first time, but the middle chord there, this kind of thing, it really is now conforming to the beat. Ja, 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 ja. So everything feels quite rhythmically propelled after an ambient beginning. Everything is really, really focused on this ba 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 constant movement, which is nice. It feels a little funky. Yeah, do 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 do, as we come back to the F, and it's, yeah, I think it's in a flute up here or something like that. Might be a computerized flute. There's a little bit of a fuzzy, grainy synth sound as well. Yeah, so this melody, after being pretty straightforward to begin with, then has given us some interesting rhythms. What was that last bit? That was good. Yeah, it's cool. Lots of notes. This makes sense as a melody. I don't need to explain these first two really. But then this, it goes down, back up, and then even further down, even further down. So it's going in two directions, one first and then down. So it really is pulling you listen-wise in unexpected ways. I don't know, it feels a little bit gothic to me. We haven't got this as a D major chord, which it would be in a kind of classical setting, but that's the sort of feeling we get from this ominous D chord because of a dominant chord wanting to go back to the G minor, and that is quite a sort of fraught, emotional, passionate kind of thing, which is not what I was really expecting from these guys. It also fits quite nicely in a shape, because this is 4 long bars if you like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay, so that's 8 bars if you like. I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 8 of those. If you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, then it would be 4. So that's quite a regular shape. Are we going to keep those? Very, very crunchy, distorted, but calm sound of that guitar. Okay, so there we went back to just having the lower ones with that in the middle, and then we came back with the melody. Is it slightly different this time? It is, because it's in this octave. It wasn't that the first time, was it? Let's hear it again. We have it, no. Did I just go back too far? Oh, my mistake, it was. So it's in these, might be in the middle one too. 3 different instruments in different octaves doing that. Okay, and then this is our second time. And then this, yeah, so we do actually have another thing there, as well as these low octaves, and that, and that, and that. We've got that note. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So nice, isn't it? Sounds quite nice. We're just layering in parts here that all work together and don't get in each other's way. Lovely stuff. I'm not sure what harmony part was doing there, but it wasn't very present. Surely we've got to change now. Yes. How did we change exactly? So this is going, yeah, there's a little riff, something like that, and then we're at B flat, a new chord. We've had G minor, we had D minor at the beginning, or maybe B flat. flat major 7 chord. That's not what this is anyway. G minor, F major, E flat, and a D power chord. But now, yeah, B flat, and we're raising to the relative major. Nice and clear and beautiful, is it? No, 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 no. Yeah, I'm not sure we have much of the third in there, that D, but maybe we have some. But we fall to the A flat and then the G. Now, here's fun. We didn't have an A flat at the beginning, we had an A. We had this tension between the B flat and the A. So here we've got a bit of modal interchange. We've gone more towards the Phrygian mode, the darker side of minor. Yeah, so that's what we've got a little bit of there. But also, it's very similar motivically to the previous section, that bam, 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 do, do, sorry, do, do, do. Very similar. Okay, so the first time there, after this, it walked back up chromatically in the bass. Do, do, do. It's a little bit out of step with the rest of the stuff, but it's a fun thing to happen. Chromatic movement then, as well as focusing on different mode. Yeah, and then this time after that, we went from the B flat to the A flat, to the G minor, and then we went to the F major. So again, we've got an A in that as opposed to an A flat. Another modal switch up, and then down to the E flat chord where we were for the first set. And then we finish off with the riff that we had become used to from the first section. Right? You get the idea? Ba-da-da-da. So this was in the first section when we had the melody, and now it's in the second section, which was based more around B flat. But it's not in most of it, it's only in that end final set of bars, just like it was in the first one. That's interesting. That's quite an unusual thing to have a motivic connection between two parts like that, two different sections. That's fun. Okay, so this is, again, back to the first section somewhat. We're getting that movement, but this time the melody is not, it's just sticking on this G. So much G, still G on this one, still G on this one. Okay, so maybe a slightly calmer, slightly more morose version of the section. Maybe, although those well, distorted sort of punchy synths, I guess they're a bit punchy, like plucky maybe. Dum dum da dum. Yeah, something like that. Doing that in fifths. Those would say something else, wouldn't they? They say slightly more jolly, I would say. Very offbeat as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Right? And then they finally come back onto the beat for the last one. Oh no, it is. It's, yeah, okay, in fourths rather than fifths. Slightly more unusual harmony then. If we're here, down to here, don't we? Yeah. So that, the E flat and the bass, and then we've got an A and a D, and then we've sort of got implied this whole big chord. Interesting harmony there then, which resolves as we get to the D. The D is sort of our comfort place to some degree. The D and the G to some degree are both our comfort places. One at one end and one at the other end. Okay, here again is the G. This sounds like it's going to be another A section with our melody, dang, 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 but without the drums. Let's see. And we've got that harmony part in as well. Okay, there is a little drumming in there. This kind of thing going on. So that's something. And everything else is pretty much faded out other than these melody parts. So you can hear the going with the slightly something like that. Yeah, it's weird. Let's hear it one more time. It's an interesting harmony. Yeah. So it's not quite moving in perfect parallel motion with the other one, but when it goes up, the other one goes up, and when it goes down, the other one goes down. So they're both moving parallel, but just slightly on different rails. So they're not exactly moving the same amount as each other, but it still feels very locked in together and just slightly morphing in its relationship to itself in a weird way. Yeah. Yeah, a strange noise, especially with that whoa, 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 strange synth over the top. But overall, all these sounds would feel quite comfortable in in a progressive rock situation in the 70s, really, wouldn't they? You could imagine a slightly more calm version of Emerson, Lake and Palmer using these, for instance. Maybe not the straightforward drum thing, but otherwise. Shaker, shaker, shaker. Okay, so we've changed drum beat somewhat. Da, da, ba, ba, da, ba, da, da, ba, ba, da. Too fast for me, but that's quite interesting, isn't it? The relationship between the open space there, bum, ba, and then this sudden flurry, ba, da, ba, da, bum, ba, da, da, ba, da. Kind of reminds me of the Kieran Leonard songs that we had a look at earlier this year. Kieran Leonard has a sort of vocal style where he will either be on really long notes, being held for a long time with a lot of words sometimes, but then he'll just have some flurries of movement. Yeah, same kind of thing. Okay, so there's a little of that watery synth going on, and then there's another kind of one which sounds very watery, like droplets doing this kind of thing. Yeah, again we've got this relationship between octaves, between wide octaves. These are 3 octaves apart, but they're kind of linked by the same part. That's a quite unusual relationship in music. Normally the low part is independent of the high part. They're not normally all completely locked together, and especially when we have independent parts, it's unusual to get them locked together like this. Sorry about the extended pause there, everybody. I had... did I start talking before I took the mute off? I don't know. I had to go and help my son get ready, so that's what I've done. But we're back now, and while I was there, I had time to reflect on what I've heard so far, and I realised that this first thing is repeated down a step in the key for the next phrase. Okay, so this is a classic example of a sequence. The first is G minor, F, E flat. Oh, wow, that sounded good, didn't it? E flat, F, E flat, D. Or if you want to think of these in the numbers of the key, we go from 8, 7, 6. Then we go back up to 7 and go down 2 again. 6, 5. Okay, so there's this clear relationship there, and that is continued then with the B flat to the A flat and the G. We've got this down down feeling, down down, down down. It's happening in each of these sections. It links them all together and makes this quite strong, if slightly robotic, texture. Oh, we've lost the speakers. Then again, it's not in this most current section that we got to, is it? Well, we've got the drum pattern being different. Oh no, it was there. Did you hear it there? It was from the D. That ghostly woo sound. Whereas the multi-octave thing, maybe it's more like, it's not quite that. That's actually got the opposite of it. It goes from the F to the G to the A flat, going up to, so repeating it in the opposite way. Now, just because a song has a very simple motif like this, doesn't mean that it will end up with a really simple set of melody parts. The example is Hear My Prayer by Henry Purcell, which is just the most amazing piece of music, and it just has this one theme, really. You could argue it has two. That's one. That's not that. I mean, that's not the main one, but that's the first one, if you like, and then the second one is more like okay, and it just takes that and it does so much with it. So you have these two melody parts and they interchange. We invert this one, loads of other things. It's really incredibly beautiful what it does, and it does it with such ease because it's made on such simple material. Really good. And this, this feels very comfortable overall, doesn't it? There's nothing sounding particularly crazy here. It's a load of elements and they are at different times and they feel a little bit disconnected at times, but everything seems to slot together very neatly, and it doesn't make too much of a hard job for me to understand it. The drums have now gone from that one particular segment of drums to now extending that out into a larger phrase, which does seem relatively complicated. And did we get some claps just at the end there? Yeah, it sounds like, as well as the snare, we've also got some claps in stereo, which is an odd choice. Sometimes we get claps instead of snare, sometimes they occur together, but here they're slightly off from each other timing wise. We get the snare right in the middle and then we get this kind of patter as it hits the other ears. It could just be a weird echo of the snare as well, but it sounds like claps to me. Yeah, this kind of butter sound, which is sort of what we got in the beginning, isn't it, from the piano in the beginning. And it's the same as this kind of feeling too. Okay, slightly more crazy melody over the top there from another synth. Yeah, doesn't really feel like we're in G minor anymore, does it? Maybe it feels like we're more in D, maybe more F minor. Or that B flat, because the bass has just come back in with B flat. Yeah, so that other one, where is that? It's basically doing that all over the texture. Yeah, all this in interesting rhythms, and with this kind of slapback echo. Sorry, it's not quite slapback, is it? Slapback means do like that, and we do have some things that are doing that, but this is not one of them. Yeah, it's a more delayed echo on that particular thing. Yeah, it's quite fun. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, da 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 da, and then that echo is coming a beat after, basically, or half a beat. Bum ba da bum ba da bum. So we get this after the first bum. It comes then dun dun, and then the two new notes go da da dun da ga da ga da ga. And then we get this constant flow for a bit, which is really fun. Yeah, so that's a guitar part doing the same thing in the middle, but just with 3 repeated notes, da 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 da, rather than jumping between them and having an echo. It doesn't have an echo, it's very clean actually, although with a distorted sound, and oddly badly played. If we have another listen, it's slightly off. They seem to like things that are slightly off. Let's hear again. Here it comes. Yeah, especially that last one, and it just sort of falls apart. This phrase as well, sorry, it actually goes a little further, doesn't it? It doesn't just go to the A flat, it goes all the way to the B flat. So yeah, we really feel, I guess, more in a sort of Mixolydian B flat territory at the moment. So slightly more jolly feeling, isn't it, than the previous section. And that's even with the bass going in our B section kind of fashion down to the G. It doesn't alter it very much because the bass is not very prominent here. Lots of heavy cymbal noise going around. You can hear the ride ding 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 ding, but there's also, I mean, maybe it's also from the ride, but it feels so much larger and all-encompassing than normal. No, there are a few hits on the crash as well. Okay, so now the bass has dropped an octave. It's no longer here. It's down here. In with the guitar doing pretty much the same thing, and it's really quite heavily distorted. Really sounds very farty, which is fun, but really dominant in the mix. It's sort of clouding everything out. We've got the drums and the bass really just fighting, and now actually everything has dropped out somewhat. The synths have disappeared quite a lot. We've got more clear claps as well, in the right headphone especially. They are in both headphones though. We've got some jangly drums, jangly percussion. Yeah, so the drums actually dropped out there, didn't they? And then we've got this slow fade in of some clattery drummy parts. Yeah, again, it feels slightly off rhythmically. Yeah, it's just got constant semiquavers in that drum part. Okay, drums back now, but that other bell kind of ding-a-ding thing is still in there. Yeah, so you can hear the da-da-ba-da is still in that drum part, but we've just got loads padding out the area around it, making it a much more polyrhythmic and exciting texture. And wow, now it feels like that is on the beat, that particular... It feels like it's on the beat. Before it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 da da da, 1 da da 2 da da, right? 1 da da 2 da da 3 da da 4 da da 5, right? But now it feels like that's da 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 da, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You get the idea? Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and strictly. But that's partly just because the drums are not giving us as regular a feel as they once were. So the drums sometimes are just dropping beats here in a very unconventional and slightly uncomfortable way. It feels like the floor is being dropped from beneath us. Yeah. Okay, so an uncomfortable rhythmic confusion towards the end there, which was really fun, and then that seems to have dropped out for the end of this song. As we get more of a soundscape with some simple notes. Again, yeah, more around that B flat area still, but so much less going on. More of a hum, this kind of breathy, low noise, taking up a lot of the space. Still some clattery, drummy sounds, but not much of substance. Kick drum and ride cymbal. Just being hit there, just to give a bit more space. I think we had a lone bass note as well. Yeah, there's a few bass notes, okay. Ba-dum. Sounds like an acoustic bass actually. Just doing those two notes. And yeah, that oppressive atmosphere is clouding out everything at this point. Really only the bass and the drums remain. Oh, but that atmosphere dies down all of a sudden. That's an interesting one. Wow, lots in there. No vocals, so all the vocal led things we can probably get rid of. What do we like about it then? So we liked common motifs across sections. That was really cool. Common motifs across sections. So let's get rid of melisma and let's add, oh yeah, no, I was going to do it, okay. Common motifs across sections, that's a really cool thing, doesn't happen very often, so no doubt will not give us a large amount. Oh geez, this is the worst. Oh no, and it's got another M in there. Common motifs. Common motifs between sections, yeah. Oh man, what is my spelling like today? Oh jeez, let's redo that. This is taking longer than normal. That'll have to do. Yep. Nice, well done. Okay, common motifs between sections. Yeah, we really liked that. We liked dropping beats. Now, dropping beats could be ambiguous to write down, so what shall I write instead? Something like drop on first beat, something like that. That would be a sensible thing to write down. It's not exactly what was going on, but it's pretty close. Shall I get rid of, sorry, linear? Not having linear. Something's going weird today. So drop, first beat drum drop, shall we say? First beat percussion drop. This is getting a little esoteric, but these are really fun things. Oh, and we also like the modal interchange, but we've got that already written down. So I think that'll do for now. Percussion drop. Nice one. Okay, so did we really have a soundscape at the end? It's a little bit rich, but I think let's give it. Bridge has multiple sections. Did we have a bridge? I would say actually we kind of had a binary structure here, where halfway through it just flipped to a new concept, and we continued that for most of the rest of the song. You could argue the end was a little bit different. So you could say this is maybe a tertiary structure, an ABC, rather than just an AB. But I think that's splitting hairs. We had a really, really short section at the end, so we could call it a coda instead of one of the main sections. Instrumental, well, it was all instrumental. First beat percussion drop, hell yeah. Distorted bass, hell yeah. We had so much of that. Really impressive stuff. Yeah, no bridge then. High belt, yeah, sadly not. Big drop. We had drops, but we didn't really have a big drop, so I think no. Fast, tight echoes. We did, didn't we? We had some of those. Held distances. You know what? Not really. We didn't really have any held dissonances. Oh, apart from in the intro where we had that chord with the B flat and the A. So yeah, fair enough, we had one. Improvised feel. It's clearly not, apart from maybe the drums. The drums had enough going on that you could say that there was some improvisation going on there. Otherwise, the stuff that sounds improvised is just that there wasn't a lot of cohesion between some of the parts. Sometimes they were, meant to be doing, but they were doing. That's a little harsh. That's the kind of thing that was going on. So, not really counterpoint. We did have melodies moving together quite nicely, but that's not counterpoint because they're too locked together. Riff, though, we definitely somewhat had a riff. Bow, bow, bow. That one. Bow, down, down. Can't quite remember how that bit goes. I would call that all a riff. quite happily. Common motifs between section. Oh, I haven't written an S there for some reason. Aksak rhythm is actually a hard one for this. The basic answer is no. You could, you could say if you wanted that that's 1 2 3 1, but that isn't really how it's felt, at least not for me. I'm not going to put Aksak rhythm for this one. I've also, so the thing about Aksak is actually that it should just be Aksak rather than Aksak rhythm probably, and also it is generally associated with fast melodies that use all of these beats. So it's a bit of an appropriation to put it in here, but I'm using it because there isn't a good alternative. People use sort of additive and divisive rhythm, but I think that is a nonsense concept. So I'm keeping that one for now. Okay, heavy chromaticism. Not heavy. There was a little chromaticism. Slow build in texture. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's basically true. Section to section, quite a lot of slow building. Cross rhythms. It didn't really feel like that so much, did it? Maybe in that second section a little. I'm going to leave that one. There was a snare backbeat, so yeah, we can't have that. Chromatic lines. There was one chromatic line, but so actually we don't get the S on that, so no, we can't have it. Middle 8, no. Arpeggiation, actually no. Modal interchange, yes. Percussion led outro, not really. There was a little percussion in it, but it wasn't led by that. Wow, we've done pretty well here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. That's a good score. Nice one. Now before I go on, let's add that S in. Okay, just one more again today, I think. What time are we on? Yeah, 1 hour 9 already. Gee, puzz. We had a big break though, didn't we? Sorry about that. Okay, come on then. Layered presence, let's do it. I think we heard something beginning there. Great little rhythm, but it's like a question and answer. Two different sections that have a lot similar together, connecting them is in both, but then the first one has a as well. So it's like, did you eat your breakfast? Yes, I ate them all. Something like that. Linking the two things together like that makes it feel really strong and yeah, and very catchy basically, which is not something I expected so much. What's also fun is it's going all the way around the stereo spectrum with a load of different cymbals. Yeah, and that rhythm that I gave you is actually just the amalgam of all those things being put together. None of those things are doing that rhythm, and there's one more that comes in the left that actually adds that added that we had in the first section. It adds it onto the second section as well, so they basically have the same rhythm actually. That's interesting. It's just that the relationship between the two sections is different because they are using different cymbals, different percussive sounds to emphasize different beats to some degree. Yeah, okay, now this is an added low tom probably, with a few ghost notes as well, which is fun. Very different sound. We had that really high-pitched tinny noise of the cymbals, or the hi-hat I suppose is quite a lot of what's going on there. And then we have this big boomy noise. It could be the kick drum as well, but it could be a low tom I suppose. Oh, as well as that we've got strange noise going on in the background. Something kind of sounds like there's like TV on in the background, maybe a football game or something. Okay, that fades out, and now we've got sort of the beginning of our A section surely. After our intro. Ow. Yeah, so this is a new section, but it keeps a lot of the DNA of the previous section. The drums, I think, are doing pretty much the same thing, maybe with a snare in there as well. And then we've got these octaves, again, wide octaves. I think I should probably write this down. It's just 2 octaves, I think, this time. But they're both doing the same thing, apart from that the lower one has a bit of a rhythm to it. I think, like that. Okay, it's gone already a little bit different. Let's hear it again from this point. Yeah, so it's... Yeah. Yeah, so this just has long, slow beats. And this is so very off the beat in comparison. And then yeah, dum da da dum. Down to the F. It sounded like we were starting in like a D major there, D flat major, but then da 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 do really feels a lot more final. But it's not, because we've got something coming straight after it. Okay, so that's just long held E flat. We have the fifths, yeah, something like that in the synth part. Synth quite sort of mosquito-y, very buzzy, slightly metallic kind of sound, I suppose, but nowhere near as metallic as these bell type sounds. Yeah. Yeah, quite a wide melody again, like this one. Very similar to that actually. Just a little different at the end there. And it's doing that, I think, in fourths again. Something like that. Because bells have non-sympathetic resonances to them, you can often hear 2 different notes coming from the bell or more very easily. And this is no different to that. Yeah, so we've got the belly type ones up here in this kind of range, and then there's in this middle range, very sort of aggressive sound, slightly like a saxophone, really buzzy. And they're working together, but again, like the previous one, they're not moving completely in the same intervals. Mostly moving together in the same direction, but not always by the same intervals. So they don't feel completely locked together, but still the rhythm is exactly what you would expect it to be. So they are somewhat, which is an interesting contrast to the other ones where they do move the same, but they don't have the same rhythm. Right? Interesting. So some are linked together by rhythm and some are linked together by pitch. Yeah. Like the other one, we've sort of got odd phrase lengths here. I didn't mention it in the final section of the other one, but as it's come up again, let's talk about it here. How long is this phrase? Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, actually, that was only 12, but that was weirdly 4 shorter than the previous one, which would have been 16, I suppose. But yeah, we get bam, 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 ba-da-dum, 3, 4. And then the first time we got to that E flat, didn't we, for another 4. But here it's 12. It's 12. So essentially 3 long bars, quite a slow pace. So each of these beats 1, 2, 3, 4 takes up quite a big space in the song, and having 3 long bars instead of 4 just offsets things in a surprising way. We come in with a new section early, so it feels quite enlivening, quite exciting when that happens. And here it is. Actually, I want to check that because it kind of sounded like we repeated that. Let's check again. Is this the section we're going from? That's the E flat. So this is where it comes in, and it does repeat that phrase sort of. Da, 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 da. And then okay, and again, like the other one, how did we forget about this in the end? But we've got a bit of rhythmic displacement or phasing going on, because the first time we got no, yeah, I'll just do one line just for my own sake. We got something like that, but this time can you hear the difference? One, the higher one comes in a little later, so after that note it comes in. Okay, and then these two are together. But in the new time, sorry, now it's these two that are together and these two. So the relationship between them has changed because one has come in a little earlier, and that actually changes quite a lot of how the groove feels. The elements are still the same, but they are matched up in a different manner. This is a classic sort of minimalist thing to do, very Steve Reich thing to do, shifting things in the texture so that they occur in a different place, and this therefore gives a quite unimaginable level of difference. But overall that difference is quite hard to quantify. Like it's I can say literally what's happened, but how does that make you feel different is a really much more difficult thing to say. Okay, but now it seems to have shifted back again for that part. Something is more afoot than I thought it was, I think. Yeah, there's more going on. It's more so this higher part just did something in a different rhythm but the same notes. So there's loads changing in that particular part, whereas the other things seem to be pretty much on their trajectory. And then suddenly we've come to an A flat chord, A flat 5, which we weren't expecting. We've not had it before. It's still within our key, so it's not out of the ordinary really, but we've lost the bell effects over the top, and we've come to a new chord. So it feels different, feels slightly more positive maybe. Okay, and then we immediately go from da, da, an F minor kind of feeling. But again, because we've got these parallel motion things, this odd fluttery synth, it's very sort of both shimmery, isn't it, and fluttery. Maybe more shimmery than fluttery, but one part of it is using these notes, and then the parallel side of it is using some slightly different ones. You can't be doing that, that's too nice. Yeah, it does actually feel like that. Yeah, so it seems like it's actually locked to the scale, which is interesting. Yeah. This is our root note here at the moment, this F. So this feels weirdly dark, even though this by itself is really nice. Yeah, strange. Two very juxtaposed, they're so juxtaposed. Two very different things juxtaposed and feeling quite unusual together. And the brightness and the tinniness of the other one is really odd too. That shimmery feeling. Nice. So then we dropped from that to B flat, and now it actually feels like a more straightforwardly consonant place. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, back again to F, but actually it's with a B flat there rather than that one. Okay, so it's that. It still sounds quite dark, but nowhere near as dark as. Hard to tell the difference. That sounds much less than that, doesn't it? So we're still in the B flat place, and I think we were before, but I'm not going back because I'm sort of out of time. So that's the oh no, it's back to the it's a G flat tonality. How interesting, going all over the place. Yeah, so there's a few things fighting each other there. We've got this C here with this D flat and this G flat. So yeah, some held dissonances, things going on that don't seem to mesh together, but the rhythm is really straightforward, almost Kraftwerk kind of style ensemble altogether, but also the robot-y nature of these things moving da 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 is really electronic and robotic kind of feeling, but we're getting these clashes as the things don't quite mesh, which is fun and uncomfortable, but in a slightly softer way than a lot of the time. There's no passion there, is there? That's what's missing, and therefore it doesn't hurt. It's just dissonance. It doesn't hurt if it's just dissonance. Okay, don't be so passionate about things. Okay, and now we're into another section. It feels like the bass just held on there, but most things were fading out, even the drums. Oh, maybe not the drums. Okay, but we're back to kind of our beginning texture, aren't we? So we've got the drums, and we've got more drums, more toms and things, and we've got that background noise as well. Oh, we got eaten by something, and then it appeared, on an E flat with a very computerized metallic sounding melody. Yeah, you can kind of hear the notes in the background, which are the most important ones. But sometimes those sound more like they're thrown up an octave, or thrown up an octave and a fifth, rather than sounds like that kind of thing, or this kind of thing, where the notes, even though they are going down like that because of the timbre of the instrument, sometimes those higher ones are coming out more prominently. Yeah, we're sort of in a slightly different tonality here, but it's not really clear exactly what's going on. All we know is we had an E flat, D, C and B flat, and we might have had some G and F as well, so it sort of looks like B flat major, but maybe we've got that A flat again. Da da. There's that A flat. So yeah, we're looking at B flat mixolydian maybe, or E flat major. Yeah, but things keep moving in parallel motion. Sort of when we've got everything sat on this G, it really doesn't feel like E flat anymore. You know, it's got a lot of agency to it, that note. Yeah, so many things are just locked together and moving across multiple octaves. It's cool. Sudden change to E minor. We've got that shimmery synth back in that high octave again, but now we're in E minor. That's such a big difference from... Yeah, so there's B flat to the E minor. That's my favourite Other Worlds chord change. It's going back on the thing. Let me remember it. And it's going back on the thing. That's nice though. But yeah, big textural change and everything. The only thing that's been constant is that drum line. That's been going the same way the whole time. And it sounds like we've got a guitar solo on the way here. Let's hear it. I was worried for a moment because it sounded like we were just going to get a load of G's, but then we got da 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 da. So it looks like we are getting a more passionate melodic part out of this. We're getting Eaton again in the background. Sounds like a mower or just a massive monster. Yeah, it's a very angular melody, going up here and then down, and then, or even down. Yeah. Sometimes consonant intervals, sometimes big changes. The F natural there, the lovely Phrygian kind of feeling to it, but it's not with everything, because this shimmery thing over the top is giving us lots of F sharp. So that ended there, and we're back to D flat, which is where we began our first tonal section here. Weird stuff. And that's what we're doing. But again, it's in parallel fourths. So overall the D flat is not really where we are, but that kind of feels dominant. Bow, 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 especially with that low bass. Wow, yeah, very wet sounding thing. Cough. Smash. Okay, and this feels like our second section again, doesn't it? Well, no, sorry, this is really the first section with some added things in the texture. Yeah, such strange rhythm there. So I don't know exactly how that works. It almost feels like the beats are delayed a little towards the end. Yeah, kind of thing. Fun. Okay. Ending on a final chord. Da, da. Like one of those B flat minor 7. Fun, all over the place, like very interesting, really unusual approach to harmony in general, because really each individual thing added to the harmony, provided it wasn't locked into the main thing. So, you know, we had things doing this across octaves, that's fine. We had things in parallel fourths, like that, and we had things in thirds as well. Yeah, what was it? It was something like that. Yeah, can't quite remember. But all these things meshing together, providing their own sort of insight into the overall harmony, which occasionally clashes with the other one. Yeah, loads of unusual things there, and some crazy out there key changes all of a sudden as well. So let's get it back on here. We're taking out high belt. Sorry, high belt. I know you haven't been here long. And we are putting in other worlds chord change. That's a big other. Small world. Other world chord change. And also, thing to like about both of these ones is that they have this multi-octave cohesion. Okay, and I'm going to put that in as I said it just then. Multi-octave cohesion. Should we take out middle 8? No one cares middle 8. In fact, let's take out arpeggiation. I'm sure it'll come back soon. It's just not very interesting. And what was it again? What was I saying? Yeah, multi-octave cohesion. Multi-octave cohesion. Could be a lovely egg song, that. Okay, multi-octave cohesion. Is there anything else I like to say? Rhythmic displacement, yeah, absolutely. Rhythmic displacement, one of the most exciting things, really. What should we get rid of? Cross rhythm. It's more interesting than cross rhythm. Let's definitely do it. Ah, no, I pressed the wrong button. That's probably what I did earlier, thinking about it. Rhythmic displacement. Yeah. Okay. What are we going to get for this one then, I wonder? Rhythmic displacement. I like spelling displacement with a Y, and so I'm going to do that. Like dysprosium. Or dysfunction. Oh no. The ent has been displaced from displacement. There we go. Okay, soundscape. Not well. No, actually, we had some ambient sound. I don't think that's quite the same as a soundscape, so I'm not going to allow it. We didn't really have a bridge. We had, what was the structure here? We sort of had our sort of A section, which was led by the D flat stuff. Then we had our B section, maybe with the really shimmery synth. Then we had this strange bit in the middle, and then we sort of had the A and the B again. Did we? No. Maybe we had the B and then the A. So maybe it was a sort of reverse order there. I might have to listen to it again. Common motifs between sections. A little bit. We did get the shimmery thing happening in two different sections. So let's say yes. Also, we had the drums common between each of the sections. So I suppose so. Not percussion-led outro. Percussion-led intro though. We more clearly had Aksak rhythms in this. Da, 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 da. But as a result of that rhythmic displacement, really less of a thing by itself, but we'll allow it anyway. Did we have a snare backbeat? I wasn't really paying attention to the snare after the beginning. Let's just have a brief listen. No, there's not really much snare in there at all, if any. Okay, so we can get that one done. held dissonances. Held is the operative term here. I wouldn't say there were held dissonances. There were some quite unusual dissonances, but they weren't held. No improvised feel in this one really at all. Everything felt very robotic. Heavy chromaticism, not really. Modal interchange, not really. Massive key changes, yes, but I think broadly the modes kept similar in each individual section. I'm going all over the place here. Slow build in texture, I think we can probably give that, yep. Middle 8, no. Chromatic lines, no. Held dissonances we've already done. Riff, we didn't, did we? That's the only bit that I would say was really a riff. Maybe this is a riff. All right, let's give it. Little melodic fragments, I suppose. Counterpoint we didn't really have. Not complex enough for me anyway. We didn't have any distorted bass in that one. Or Barry sax, sadly. Otherworld's chord change though, yes. First beat percussion drop, that's going to be gone pretty soon, I imagine. Binary structure, no. Big drop, no. Fast tight echoes. Not that I noticed. It definitely was instrumental though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so close to having a line. Just savagely stopped by heavy chromaticism. That's rude. But yeah, not such a good score on that one. I didn't really like it as much either. Sort of got bored of the style, at least looking this deep into it by the end of that one. But I mean, you know, that is this kind of music. I would say that there have been more exciting things by Tortoise, but with a name like Tortoise, are you expecting them to be the most exciting thing? I think what you should probably expect them to be is reliable, slow moving, likes lettuce. And that's what we got. Have a lovely day. See you soon. Bye bye.